Thank you so much for the love shown for the first part of this video, which is about hidden but useful secrets of grouping in PowerPoint. Let us continue to explore the grouping option. First, I'll talk about certain limitations of grouping in PowerPoint. Then I will explore certain unique aspects of grouping in PowerPoint and also the specific applications for each of those unique aspects of this option. Before I jump in, I am Ramgopal from presentationprocess.com. If you want to receive 25 creative presentation ideas to upgrade your presentation skills, join this 5-day free email course. The link is in the description box below the video. Let us understand the first limitation of grouping. You cannot group the placeholders in PowerPoint. Let me show you what I mean by that. Here you can see that this is a placeholder for the title of the slide. This comes as part of the layout. When I go to layout, you can see that these are all the placeholders, and whenever you have anything inside a placeholder, you will not be able to group that placeholder with any of the objects, like say shapes. Let me show you what I mean by that. As usual, we draw a circle. Now let me select this shape, hold the shift button down and select this placeholder. Now you might think that it is easy for us to hit Ctrl G and group them. But then when you right click, you can see that the group option is not shown here. Even if you hit Ctrl G, it doesn't work. I've seen many times people using the placeholder as a text box and they struggle to group that text box with any of the other shapes. Now you know that it is because of this limitation in PowerPoint. Now, how do you overcome this? It's very simple. You select the text inside, press Ctrl X to cut it so you can take it out of the placeholder. And then you can always paste it back, and this can be grouped with this, and you can press Ctrl G and it'll get grouped. Now you might say, now Ramgopal, I need to now go back and format it the way it was before. If that is the case, then you can remove the placeholder, right click, and instead of using the first option here, which is use destination theme, you can use the second one called as keep source formatting, and you can see that the formatting is pretty much intact. You can always do the minimal formatting required to get back the same look and feel by using the keep source formatting option. The next limitation is you can't group tables. Let me show you. Let me go to insert table and let us have some table like so and have it here. And let me use some shape. As always, we will draw a circle and see if we can group this shape with the table. Let us select both of them, right click, and you can see that the group is not available here. So what is the workaround? It's very simple. Let us say you've finished working with your table and you don't have any changes to make there. Then you can select the table, right click, cut it, and then right click and paste it back, now this time as a picture instead of as the use destination theme option. So when you paste it as a picture, this picture can easily be grouped with another shape. When you press Ctrl G, it gets grouped quite easily. Now, if you say, I still want to have control over whatever text that I have written inside, let's say 1, 2, etc. and you want to be able to access these text elements inside the table later, then instead of cutting and pasting it as a picture, you can cut this by pressing Ctrl X, and then you can paste it by going to the Home tab, click on the paste option, go to paste special, and you can paste it as an SVG object. Or if you are using an earlier version of PowerPoint, then you can use enhanced meta file. Now what happens here is you now have an SVG image. So this still gets nicely grouped with the various other shapes on your slide. At the same time, you can always get access to these numbers by breaking it down. You first convert this into a shape, right click by going to convert to shape option, and then you can ungroup it by pressing Ctrl Shift G. Now I can select these objects which are inside the group, press Ctrl C and Ctrl V to extract them out of the group like we did earlier. Now you have full access to these text elements that you had inside the table. So that is the way you work around grouping tables. The next limitation we have in grouping is you can't merge shapes that are inside a group. Many times I've seen people complaining that they are not able to use the merge shapes option. That is because they may not be aware that some of the objects that they are trying to use the merge shapes for might be grouped with something else. Let me show you what I mean by this. As always, let us select the circle and draw another circle right next to it. Now these two can easily be merged together, or you can use shape subtract, etc. and you can see that all these options are readily available. Now when I press Ctrl G to group these objects, now when I select these two objects, you can see that I don't have the option of merging them. That is one of the limitations of grouping. if you ever want to merge the shapes, then you need to ensure that every element that you want to group is ungrouped first. And the final limitation of grouping is you lose animation on the objects when you group them together. Let me show you what I mean. I have these two selected animations and let us have a simple float-in animation. Now let us go to animation pane and you can see that there are these two animation events. Let me select both of them and press Ctrl G. You can see that the animation is lost instantly. So before you rush to group any of the objects, please make sure that none of those objects are animated in any way. Otherwise, you will lose that animation. It works the other way as well. Let us say I have this group and I've applied an animation. Let us say wipe animation like so. Now, when I ungroup this, I will lose the animation. Can you see here? There is this animation event. When I press Ctrl Shift G, ungrouping happens and instantly I lose animation. So animation and grouping are slightly dicey partners, so be careful when using them together. Now you might ask me, how do I overcome this issue? I use this beautiful option called Animation Painter to recall my animation. Let me show you what I mean by this. Here I have a few circles. Let us select just these red ones and press Ctrl G to group them. First let me apply float-in animation. So I have one animation event on this. Let me select this and go to add animation and add the next one called pulse, and this happens after previous. Let me add another one by going to add animation and let us say I'm going to use teeter this time, and this happens after previous. So when I go to slideshow, this is what happens. You have float in and you have pulse and teeter. So there are quite a few animations that are applied to just this one object. And if I ungroup this, I will lose all this animation, the timing, the sequencing, etc. So what do? I usually make a copy of this whole thing by pressing Ctrl D and I keep it to the side. So I have a copy. You can see all this animation still exists in this particular group. Now I go ahead and ungroup this. And when I do that, you can see that all the previous animation is gone and only the animation here is left behind. Now I do whatever I want. Say for example, I change the color or I want to add anything. Maybe I can increase the size. I do whatever I require. Now I select one of these and press Ctrl Shift J, which is the shortcut for regroup. Yes. Now I've got my group ready. Now for this, I need to recall the animations that I had applied earlier. For that, all I need to do is to select this one where all the animation exists. Go to animations, click on the animation painter, and I can click on this group. Now you can see everything is in place. I don't really need this. Let us go to slideshow and see. On a click, we have float in, pulse and teeter, and everything is back. So that is how I work around the limitations. You see, these kind of insider tricks are not taught to you in any of the courses, books, or anywhere. These things come from working with PowerPoint year on year for many years, in fact for decades. I've shared all those insider tricks working with PowerPoint for many years in this program called Ramgopal's PowerPoint Mastery. So if you are a professional who needs to make presentations as part of your profession, then this is a very useful tool for you. So click on the link in the description box below the video and check out this product. Let us get back to understanding grouping a lot deeper. Now that we have understood the limitations of grouping, let us understand some of the unique things about grouping that can help us use the tool in the right way. The first one is something that you might know when it comes to smart art, but many presenters are not aware of where else can you use this beautiful option of ungrouping twice. Yes, we are going to talk about the power of ungrouping twice. Let us go to Insert, Smart Art, and let us insert any smart art. You can see by default all the elements inside a smart art are grouped. That means there are certain limitations in working with PowerPoint, especially around the animations part. If you want to have more control over the individual elements inside a smart art, then you need to ungroup this. Normally, the way you do it is you select the smart art, then go to Convert in the Smart Art Design tab and go to Convert to Shapes. Now that ungroups it one level. And then you see it is still grouped, and if you want to break this down, you once again hit Ctrl Shift G, and now you have these individual elements you can work with and have full control. Now instead of doing this, a simple way is to select the smart art, press Ctrl Shift G once, and then Ctrl Shift G again. You can see that it does the exact same thing. The same thing works for SVG images, especially the ones that are available as part of the icons. When I go to Insert Icons, and let us pick any random icon, maybe this, and insert it. Let me increase the size so you can see what I'm doing here. You can see by default, this SVG image is grouped, which means if I want to change the color, let us say I want to change it to green, everything inside the icon changes into green color. That is not what I want. I want the sun to be red, the rays to be orange. So how do I do that? All I need to do is to select the icon, press Ctrl Shift G. I get this pop-up dialog box which says this is an imported picture, not a group. Some text may not display correctly after converting this picture. Do you want to convert it to a Microsoft Office drawing object? Just say yes. Now you can see that it is beautifully ungrouped. Now I can select the specific part of the icon and I can color it the way I want. Now I want to color these rays in orange. Now how do I do that? The usual way is you select everything and then you try to hold Ctrl button and you try to deselect the red circle. But it is quite a cumbersome process. As you can see that there are quite a few elements here and deselecting one specific element is not so easy. So one of the techniques that I use is I select the specific one that I don't want selected. I press Ctrl X to cut it. So now it rests inside the clipboard. I can select everything, use the orange color, and then press Ctrl V and I can bring it back to position. Now you can see it is a much simpler and easier option. So these are all some small street smart tricks in PowerPoint that I teach you in Ramgopal's PowerPoint Mastery program. And I happen to notice that it has taken way too much time, a lot more than what I anticipated for this video. So this video will have the third part as well. And there in the third part, I'll talk about a specific aspect of PowerPoint and I show you the direct application of where that particular aspect works in creating your graphics using PowerPoint. So you cannot miss that video about grouping. I hope you liked this video. Give this video a like if you learned some new things, and that will give me the motivation to make the third part of this video with as much dedication as I did with the previous two parts. And in the meantime, if you want to learn about some hidden secrets of Slide Master in PowerPoint, then you can watch the video right now that you see on the screen by clicking on it. In that video, I share some very interesting aspects of Slide Master I'm sure you may not be aware of. So watch that video next and I'll see you inside that.